I think there are certainly some short-term challenges in China, and growth has slowed down, and it's very natural that growth slows down after such rapid growth, and there is a lot of short-term issues that have to do with the impact of COVID and to some of the issues in the real estate sectors. China has been such an important contributor to global growth. What China needs to do is, I think, exactly what's being announced. They need to create clear conditions and rules for how the private sector can contribute. It needs to focus on innovation, trying to bring in new ideas, new ways of organizing things. All that is part of China's contribution to the global economy. I think China will remain an important contributor to global growth for the foreseeable future, but it will require more efforts from the government side also here. I think it's quite natural that growth pace slows down. As you reach what we call the world frontier, growth will come down. I think it's too early to talk about peak China or China peak. I think what is clear, though, is that because of demographics, one should not think of this in such negative terms, because it also means that when China expands the economy per capita, per individual, China will become richer, even if maybe the overall growth rate and compared to other countries may not be as high as it could have been with a different demographic structure. But I think there's very good prospects that China will continue making its citizens better off in the long term. There is a huge potential in the Chinese economy. You graduate, I think, 1.5 million engineers every year. So I mean, there's a lot of potential for technological development and for more productivity, more economic growth. Also, the constraints, the environmental constraints like climate change and biodiversity loss, and also the social constraints. We have a lot of inequality in many countries. We need to address that, otherwise this growth will not be sustainable. In the long term, we're talking about sustainable growth. If we have the kind of pace of climate change that we have seen over the last decade or so, or actually even a longer time, that will not be sustainable growth, because it will increasingly damage all aspects of the economies. You will have increasing volatility in weather, you will have droughts and so on that will damage agriculture. All those things will affect long-term growth. So we need to find ways of really investing in climate mitigation, in climate adaptation, in nature. The MDBs, the multilateral development banks, need to work together. And I think right now we are in a very good period in terms of them achieving things together, pushing each other to do more and more effectively. I think in that respect, I think multilateralism is really working at the moment.